The Veteran's Voice.
Very good afternoon to you. I'm delighted to say Hugh Andree is here. Hugh, nice to see you.
Hi, Mike.
We've got lots of news to get on with today. Both of us actually kind of surprising each other. You've got a story about a 102-year-old veteran of World War II who's become the oldest man to complete a half marathon.
Yep.
And finished the Great North Run. I said, oh, is it the same guy that's been abseiling down buildings? Which we assumed it was. No, there's another one who's 102, who was apparently, his name's Colin Bell, who flew mosquito bombing raids in the Second World War. I happened to hear him after he did it yesterday. Incredible. We're going to try and get him on the show as well. But tell us about Bill Cooksey, who's your RAF man.
Mike, I want to know what they fed those boys and girls back then, because we need some of it now.
Incredible.
Bill Cooksey, 102, ran the Great North Run. Half a marathon.
Yeah.
Took him 5 hours, 41 minutes. And I thought, that's extraordinary.
That is.
He's 102.
Yeah.
Then I looked into it a bit further and found out that for his 101st birthday, he cycled 1,000 miles.
Amazing.
And I went, well, that's bonkers.
It is.
And then, of course, I said, well, what did he do for his 100th birthday? And just to, outdo Captain Tom, he didn't go round his garden. He did 10-mile runs.
Amazing.
Leading up to his 100th birthday. So,
incredible. Well, this guy, Colin Bell, and I'm not to take anything away from Bill Cooksey, because they're obviously cut, as I say, from the same cloth. He was yesterday abseiling down the side of a building, which he doesn't normally do, because normally I think he does more excessive kind of enterprises. But he was he was interviewed afterwards, so didn't bother. They were like, "This is a very dangerous thing." No, not a problem at all. He said, "I've done it loads of times," and he raises money for armed forces charities. He was saying he can sometimes go and do events, and after dinner speaking raises sort of £12,000, and he was very remarkable, just sort of refreshingly straightforward, honest, humble. They said, "You're like Captain Tom." He said, "I'm not even in his league, don't even mention that." Absolutely ridiculous. And then they asked him what the secret was of his long life, and he said, "Well, to be honest, if I'm to be truthful, it's the love of a good woman and one or two bad ones." Brilliant. And he was on the BBC, and you could hear the guy who was interviewing him going, "I don't know if we can play that. That's a bit rude," but they let it go out because he's 102.
And I think every week now we should have We Salute You.
I think we should. I think that's brilliant.
And all our viewers, we salute you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's incredible that people... And they are. I mean, when you hear people nowadays going, "Oh, life is tough, isn't it?"
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it? This guy was flying bombers when he was probably in his early 20s.
Yeah, I mean, he'd come back, smoked 20 Woodbines, drank half a bottle of scotch, and then gone out and done it the next day.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Incredible stuff. Anyway, moving on. We spoke last week. We spoke last week about the Veterans Minister, who you met up with.
Yeah, look, what we heard last week is this is, again, is all about the Gulf War syndrome and the various symptoms and issues that many Gulf War veterans have been enduring for 30 years now. Right. The Veterans Minister hosted a roundtable meeting of experts. I wonder if there were any Gulf War veterans actually at that table. Yeah. But look, this isn't going to go away. Right. Okay, this isn't going to go away, and whether it's the Conservatives or Labour, there's an awful lot of passion and feeling, and dare I say it, hurt out there from Gulf War veterans who want answers. So,
and we're going to try and face the music and get those answers. I know there were some people after what we did last week.
It's not going to be easy.
I know, and I think people, and I want people to know this. Hugh and I know each other well. I trust Hugh implicitly with this particular issue, as I would with any issue that he was taking up. And I think it's been a bit unfair that some people have had to go at you saying, "Oh, they're now trying to lead us down this path of the sarin gas cloud and all of that." The point is that was mentioned as a possible situation. It's not instead of what could have happened with the vaccine. Yeah. It's a part of the general narrative.
In addition to.
So I think the best thing we can do here is to look at all the things that are being mentioned and to continue down the path of trying to get at the truth. That's what we do. That's what we do here at talkTV. And if that's not good enough for some people, then I'm sorry. But that is the way we're going to do it. Simple.
Absolutely. We won't stop. We won't give up. But, we will represent.
And it's not an either-or. And it's certainly not a situation of being, somehow played around with and led around by the nose. We don't get led around by the nose, and I'm pretty sure Hugh doesn't either.
Yeah, and that, Mike, is a really nice segue into the next piece. And this came in this morning.
Yes.
And really caught me on the back foot. And it made me think that whilst we are here giving the veterans a voice, when you're serving in the armed forces, you don't speak out.
Right.
There's just a code.
Right.
You know, take it on the chin,
you just deal with
crack
it, yeah.
on.
Right.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
However, a member of the RAF sent me this message. I'm not going to apologise, I'm going to read it out.
Okay.
And he said, "Hello, mate. Considering the Channel 4 documentary following the RAF at Lossiemouth, how great it all is, thought I'd give you an honest insight into what it's like at RAF Marham.
Right.
There hasn't been any hot water across most of the junior rank blocks, gym and messing facilities for over a month, due to boiler maintenance. No time frame for it to be fixed, but the rumours are it could be far away as November. Anyhow, don't worry, all is okay, because they've set up temporary showers in the car parks.
Brilliant.
But these are shocking standards, covered in mould, not draining properly and running out of hot water themselves. On top of this, occupants were told they would not have to pay for accommodation, but this promptly turned out to be, in military parlance, rollicks, and any mention of unpleasant living conditions or knocking off your accommodation charge are swiftly ignored."
Yes.
And he then goes on to say, "These buildings were condemned over 2 to 3 years ago, still being used. On top of that, they've stuck the lads and lasses coming out of training into hotels, popular one, 20 miles away, which is a great idea, seeing none of them know how to drive, so they can't get to work."
Brilliant.
That's a good one. And just in case you thought it was just the juniors getting, what do we agree, violated?
Yes.
The senior NCO's and warrant officers' mess has been closed for over a year, but members are still being made to pay their mess bills despite not having access to any of the facilities. Sounds like a lot of whinging? Well, it isn't, but all is not a rosy picture of putting people first in the RAF.
And this, of course, in the wake of the RAF Lossiemouth documentary.
Absolutely, this
series.
is in the wake of that. And do you know what? Look, the military people out there watching will get it. You know, we all give the RAF a hard time.
Yeah.
Why? Honestly, because we're jealous of them.
Yeah.
They're good looking.
Yeah.
They've got cool names like Buzz.
Right.
You know,
They've got a cool job.
They fly fast jets, and even when we go to war, they stay in 5-star hotels and we're in a hole in the ground.
Right.
But
also, they fight in minutes as opposed to years, right?
Yeah,
It's like, we got 5 minutes over the target, back in.
Yeah, it's healthy.
I mean, I'm not saying that's not very brave, by the way. What have the RAF said about this?
Well, that's really interesting because nothing at the moment.
Right.
But I would like to have a shout out to Group Captain Wigglesworth, the station commander.
What a great name.
To say, come on, Wiggles, not Biggles.
Biggles.
Can you please make a comment and let us know what is going on, because it is serious. That is unacceptable for serving members of the armed forces, paying for their accommodation and having a shower in the car park.
Yeah. Which is all very well in this weather, but not so much in all weathers.
Well, yeah, and this is the first person to complain, but I've seen so many complaints about barges, the quality of hotels in central London, the Wi-Fi not being good enough.
Yes, there is that.
So, yeah, you know what, if you've got any genuine complaints or issues, if you're serving, let us know.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Not because
I seem to remember, you might remember better than me, was maybe last year sometime there was a story in the Sun, I think, about a barracks that was being used by servicemen, which was in a terrible state.
They have been, but they have been for years.
It was left in a kind of, it was full of litter.
Yeah.
It was, you know, nobody cleaned it. You know, they were expected to move in, and you know, it was in a ghastly sort of state of disrepair.
The MOD sold off a huge chunk of their defence real estate to a company called Annington Homes. I mean, this has been a real bone of contention because, of course, Annington Homes put new roofs, new carpets, manicured gardens, double glazing in, and you have beautiful houses. And across the road, behind the wire, especially, for example, down at Purbright, there were serving members of the arms and forces living in accommodation where there were holes in the roof, windows were broken, and here we are now. We've got, you know, a community in the RAF up in Norfolk, just outside King's Lynn, paying to live on a construction site.
Absolutely ridiculous. Well, we'll delve into it and see what emerges.